Hello, so today I wanted to make a video about the OC. Yes, I'm a million years late to the party, but I finally watched it. I finished watching the series last night and I just had so many opinions that I wanted to share them. Initially I wasn't going to do a video about it, but there was just so much I wanted to talk about, and everyone else watched the series a million years ago, so nobody probably wanted to engage in my conversation. So having a chat with the camera about it. I was going to do an Instagram story, but then I thought that's going to go on long, and I specifically don't think people on Instagram that follow me will be interested in what I've got to say. And then I thought about a YouTube video and I was like, no, nobody's going to watch that. But then I had the thought that I have legit spent hours listening to the Gilmore Guys podcast, so maybe people are actually interested in a TV which aired a long time ago. So I binged the series. You probably, if you watch my videos, will have saw in a recent vlog that I got 2 of the seasons in a charity shop. The other one I got for 50p at like a charity sale, and then the last one I ordered off of Amazon. And I watched them in a really short space of time. I'm very aware that when the series came out, they came out week by week and it wasn't written to be binged, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. This video will probably centre more around season 4 because that is the most recent season I watched and also the most problematic. I have 2 pages of notes and I'm not sure any of them are going to make sense. They're all kind of just scribbles. I guess where to start. Overall, I liked the series. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to, but I did go into it with very high expectations, but I think because I'd heard about it for so many years I was a little disappointed. Overall, I liked the entire series. I liked the characters, but it had some good storylines. I liked it enough to binge it, but I don't think it's great. I think it was missing a few things. I think it could have done with a voiceover, which is a bit of an odd thing to say, but I bloody love a good voiceover. I think that's why I like Riverdale. I really liked the voiceover in One Tree Hill, and it felt like it was missing that kind of reflectiveness to it. There was that one episode where I thought there was a voiceover at the start, but then it was Summer who had recorded herself to give a voiceover to her life because she thought it would be more interesting, which I actually loved, but it's very fourth wall breaking. I think that would have been very interesting, especially from Ryan's perspective, maybe because his life kind of changes completely throughout it, and it would be interesting to hear it. But then also Ryan's not a deep enough character to do that. If somebody did that, it would have to be someone who's a bit deeper. I'm just looking at my notes and reading off things as I read them. There's not going to be much of a structure to this video, so sorry about that. So here are some like overall things which I liked or disliked. I love Christmaka. I think that's a really fun idea. It's really interesting, it's fun, it's festive, and kind of comes away slightly from traditional Christmas TV with the Christmaka twist. And I just always enjoyed these episodes, so I really like those. There was one Christmaka one I didn't like when, season 4, obviously, when Taylor and Ryan fall off the roof and then go into a parallel universe. That's really weird. I thought the concept of it was interesting, but it just didn't really fit with anything. And the way they like fell off the roof and stuff, it just felt very sitcom-y. It didn't fit the style of the show so much. Throughout the series, I didn't love the camera work. Sometimes I think it just felt off. There were some times when it was jumpy and it felt good. For example, in the earthquake, when Seth and Ryan are driving, the camera's tilted. I quite liked that. But there were some times when it kind of felt jumpy and moved too much when it wasn't necessary. There was one part which I remember and it literally looked like the camera just zoomed out and it didn't look smooth. It just looked like they accidentally zoomed out. There didn't seem to be a purpose behind it. I also didn't love those occasionally it will cut to beach shots, which I think is quite nice and it kind of sets up where you are. But the shots they used I didn't think were that great, and it didn't really add something. I didn't know, something about the way they did it was kind of just a bit, I got a message, was kind of just a bit boring. They could have used prettier shots if they wanted to cut to the beach, or I think there would be nicer ways to do it, because there was quite often they did like a drone overshot of the beach and stuff. I'll see if I can find a screen cap of it and insert it here. And it just had the potential to look nicer. The beach shots, they were kind of held a bit too short. I think if they held on to them a little, just a second longer, and kind of gave them more purpose, they seemed to just be put in wherever they fancied. It just seemed to be like cut between scenes. Oh, let's stick a beach here for a minute. They could have done better with that. They could have made it work more. I went in watching this first episode, and first I was like, I hate this. And then when Marissa came into it was when I started liking it. I liked the chemistry between Ryan and Marissa, which was there immediately. And I thought she was quite an interesting character. My favourite character is Steph's character. Definitely, he's quite real, like compared to the others. You always saw him on like his PJs and stuff, and it's so believable for that character. And they got all the things about him right, like the way he dresses, and he plays the character really well. And I like that he's self-centered, and it's fine. Like Ryan, who has a pretty traumatic life in comparison to Seth, just like puts up with Seth going to talk about summer to him all the time. I like that. I think that's quite a real thing that happens in real life. People are self-centered. I like that. I think that worked. And I believed his character the most. The idea that Seth didn't have friends until Ryan came along, I thought, yeah, okay, fine. But in some places it was a bit much. I don't know, I think they should have done more with it if they were going there, because there was never really a story. It was just always like, oh, I didn't have friends before Ryan came. And then Summer like mentions it to him at some point, and it's like obvious that Summer ignored him and stuff. But he doesn't like hold her accountable for that. Like he kind of just goes, it's okay. He always goes, oh, I didn't have friends, but he never really says, actually, it's kind of shit that as soon as Ryan came along, you now wanted to be my friend. I wanted more from that. I wanted there to be a bigger backlash from that, or it to be less of a thing. This video is going to be in the most random order. But I mentioned the fourth wall breaking thing about the voiceover. There was also a moment, I think in the final episode or this penultimate episode of the final series, when Seth donates blood to Ryan. Also pointless, a bit annoying. I didn't really see the need in that. Unless it actually showed it happening, they kind of missed out on the story of it. It was just then Ryan woke up in hospital and Seth's like, yo dude, you got my blood. Like, what? It should have been a thing, he needs blood, who can give blood, and then like, do you know what I mean? They should have made more drama out of that, rather than us just hearing it from Seth's perspective of, I gave you my blood. I don't like needles, but now we're blood brothers. But there was a very fourth wall breaking thing when Ryan like starts pretending to be Seth when Seth says he's given him his blood. And Seth responds like, oh, don't try and make this into one of those series where the characters switch places or something, because if that were this kind of series, we'd have a couple more seasons or something along those lines. What I said made no sense, but he said something along those lines of, if this were a different genre of body switching. I don't know what genre was a body switching. If this were that genre, we'd have a few more seasons left. But we're not going there. We've only got this episode. It says something which made absolutely no sense in the context of the series. Like, for the audience, I did actually laugh because it was quite funny, because it was a real obvious fourth wall breaking nudge to the audience type of thing, and it was funny. But in the context of the show, that makes no sense. Ryan's gonna be like, mate, what are you on about? If that were real, like, people don't say stuff like that in real life. There were overall too many short-term characters which got a lot of focus and then completely disappeared. There were loads of them. There was Zach, there was Luke, there was, what's that dude's name? There was that guy that died and his friend with the stupid nickname. There was that woman that we thought Ryan knocked up, I can't remember any of their names now, but there were a lot of short-term characters and they kind of just faded into the nothing. It was just not really necessary, and it was very like in and out with the characters. You had the main cast, but then the side characters were changing too often for my liking. I don't know, having the occasional side character change, yeah, fine, fair enough, but like you want a bit of some local townies type, like in Gilmore Girls how you got Babette and Miss Patty and Maury, or in Friends how you got Gunther. You just want those side characters which are always there, but all of the side characters seem constantly changing. That's quite annoying to watch, and they seem like they would be given quite a lot to do and then they'd be gone. Oh, Johnny. You got Johnny who died. I thought his story was quite interesting, but there was a lot of focus on it, and then he just died. And in this series, I feel like things happen to people and the characters don't really grieve. And I think I'm saying that because I binged it. So probably watching it slower, the process of that grief probably seems quite different. But like, people die and nothing really happens. It's just like, oh, he's dead. I wish Luke was in it longer. I really like Luke's character. I think he had a really interesting arc and he should have been in it longer. Random things like just get forgotten, like right at the start of the first series, Ryan snogs Caleb's young girlfriend. What? He is essentially snogging his granddad's girlfriend, who is like my age, and Marissa walks in, and that's the only backlash it happens. It has backlash with him and Marissa, but other than that, there's nothing comes of that. It's fine, he snogs her, whatever. Like, it seems like people do some fucked up stuff and then people are like, oh, okay. Back to the short-term characters, not making a reappearance kind of thing. When Caleb dies, Lindsay, who is his daughter, doesn't come back around. Her dad just died. I know it was a new thing, but still a dead man. Like, show up to the funeral, babe. I'm just trying to go over things from the overall series, then I'm going to talk about series 4 as a whole, because I've got a lot of stuff we want to talk about. Summer has the most interesting character arc. I like how she becomes different as she gets to know Seth. It's very clear that she kind of loses her friends in that. At the start she seems to have quite a lot of friends beyond Marissa, but as it goes on she doesn't really seem to have friends, which is an odd one. And another short-term character, Holly. I would have liked to have seen more from Holly. She was in it quite a lot at the start and then she's gone. I said earlier I didn't love the camera work. There was one shot which I really did love, and that was... I will try and cut this video together to make it make more sense, but probably not. There was one shot I really loved, and it was, I think, in the first season. Yeah, it was in the first season when Marissa, Ryan, Seth and Summer share a hotel room, and I think it's focusing on Summer and Seth lying opposite sides of... Oh no, I think it's Marissa and Ryan lying opposite sides of the sofa, like kind of backs turned against each other, and then it zooms out and it's kind of, I think it's like an L shape, and you've got Ryan and Summer in the same position on the bed as Marissa and Ryan on the sofa. I thought that was a really cool shot. Other than that, didn't love the camera work. Also, a lot of unnecessary close-ups. I think that's probably a point because I watched too much Gilmore Girls and there are no close-ups. Another thing I want to talk about is Marissa's bisexuality. So she dates Alex. Just another thing. That was Seth's girlfriend for like a really short time, but she never cleared it with Seth like, hey, do you mind if I date your ex-girlfriend? She just kind of started dating her, which is kind of a shitty friendship thing, I think. Especially as the two weren't too far apart. So she dates her for a while, she moves in with her, so it's clearly quite serious. And her and Julie have a conversation where Julie's like, oh, I had a phase where I dated a girl. A phase. I don't like the use of that. The way that I got played off was like Marissa was a teenager playing up, and maybe she was. But that wasn't why she dated a girl. She dated a girl because she was attracted to that girl. They really made out like it was just her acting up, which I don't think is a very cool thing to give off. That's not a good message, and that's not what people do. The only really mention of it she makes after is when her and Summer are messing about in a hot tub with Seth, and they're pretending they're going to make out, and then she goes, I have kissed a girl before. But at some point she could have just referred to herself as being bisexual, and then it would be clear that she was with a girl because she liked the girl, not because she was having a bad time. But the way it got made out was like, oh, she's having a bad time, so she's dating this girl. I like that they put the story in there, but I think after they broke up there should have been some reference to the fact that she was bisexual. It shouldn't have been, oh, you're dating a girl because you're playing up because you're having a bad time. Another thing is, also felt like they repeated a lot of the same storylines with different characters. Like there was a lot of alcoholism in it, like Kirsten, Marissa, Ryan's mum. You don't need 3 and maybe even 4 alcoholics in one program. It's not necessary. If they wanted to play up the addiction thing, have somebody addicted to something else. I don't know, it just seemed like they were always showing Marissa drinking, and then they started doing the same with Kirsten. Not repetitive because they're very different stories, because the characters were in very different places, but there was definitely could have done something a little more varying. Also, another repeated storyline was season 4. I'll discuss this in a minute. Kirsten and Julie both get pregnant. What? That was bizarre. I hated that. Everything about that I hated. It was just really, really not necessary. I'm going to talk about season 4 because season 4 is very problematic. God, this video is going on. Right, so season 4. End of season 3, Marissa dies in Ryan's arms. Firstly, I didn't think they were actually going to kill Marissa. I thought it was going to be, she dies, oh, we brought her back to life, oh, she's in a coma, oh, like something, but she was going to come back. But they just killed her flat out. So before filming season 3, did they know they were being cancelled is my question. Because a lot of similar series go on for what, like 7 seasons? And at season 3 they decide to kill off the main and possibly the most interesting cast member. No logic to it. Marissa was definitely like one of the more interesting characters. Yeah, that seemed very odd. That was a weird one. So I don't know why they did that, and I did actually like the ending of season 3. I thought it was really interesting. But then when we got back into season 4, there was a time jump, and at first I thought, oh, this can work because we didn't know what was going on, and I was like, okay, this could be quite interesting. But then I expected at some point some flashbacks to closer to the time of Marissa's death. I expected some sort of funeral scene or something to show more grieving, but it never happened. They missed the opportunity to evoke that emotion, and it wasn't really that sad that Marissa died. Like, she died at the end of season 3, you don't actually expect her to be dead. And then she is dead, but we don't see any of the sadness to it. We see a lot of anger, but none of the sadness, so the audience can't feel that with them. That really bothered me. They missed an emotional beat which they should have taken, even if they did it in a short flashback. Even if they showed everyone at the funeral and Ryan not being there. You know, just something. So that bothered me. And then the, what's his name, Vorchak? I don't actually know how to say his name. I'm gonna look it up. I can't say it. Vorchak thing. So I actually enjoyed his character. I found him to be quite interesting, but obviously we weren't supposed to like him. Of all that shit, he killed Marissa, etc. But overall, I thought throughout his character was kind of interesting. I liked that detail of when they were going to the prom, he was trying to tie a tie and he couldn't do it, and then he got annoyed. It's kind of reflective of how he couldn't fit into that world when he wanted to, so instead of trying, he went the opposite way. I like that Ryan is searching for him. I like that Sandy takes Ryan to him, and I like that scene where they both end up talking. I think that was really powerful. The way it cuts back to them after Ryan punching him, it cuts back to them, they're both sat on the floor talking about what happened. But that was really powerful. I thought that was the best scene of season 4. But then after all of this anger, all of these emotional beats, the series kind of flips back. Like, he does all the cage fighting and stuff. That ends, he's moves back in with the Coens, moves back into the pool house, and it's like Marissa never existed. It's really odd. The entire tone of the series just changes. He starts dating Taylor. Bizarre. I didn't like how they played Marissa's death because some characters didn't grieve and other characters were just angry. And get that people get angry. Or there was Summer who I quite liked that she became a totally different person to forget Marissa, but then realised she is still slightly like that person. At first I hated it when Summer was really environmental and like green, but then I liked it as I saw that it was actually who she wanted to be and it was just how she had developed over time. Although one thing about that Summer thing is, although she's supposed to be really like save the planet, environmentally friendly, she carried a lot of coffee cups with plastic lids. I'm just saying, if you're interested in the environment, I know keep cups probably weren't a thing in 2006, but you'd have a keep cup or you wouldn't get a lid, like, just so. But then there were some characters who just didn't seem fussed by Marissa's death. Seth didn't seem to care, and I know he wasn't as close to her as Summer or her mum or Ryan, but he was still her friend. He still hung out with her most days. There would be an impact. A bit odd, and I thought we might see, what's his name, her dad? Why can't I think of his name? I thought we might see her dad anyway, post her death. And I basically hated all of the impacts of her death. It split up Julie and Dr. Andrews, which I hated. I actually liked them as a couple, and I thought Julie was going to meet someone who was good for her. Just split them up, and he just kind of disappeared. I was like, hey, have my house. I got enough money to buy another, don't worry. Like, what? And then they just lived in his house and like didn't think anything of it. And then they moved Taylor into his house as if like it's their house to move somebody into. The whole Taylor thing, ridiculous. Hated that she got married in Paris because I didn't care. I hated that her and Ryan got together, and I don't think it's because the characters are so different. I've been trying to figure out why I didn't like it, because often I will like the unexpected romances and things. Like, I wasn't even against Blair and Dan on Gossip Girl, but Taylor and Ryan, no. And do you know, I think it's because there is no chemistry between them. I'm not going to say the actors because I don't know what their relationship's like, but there's just no chemistry there. You don't feel anything for them. I don't care if they're together or not. They don't seem to actually want to be together. And all I think they had to do was at some point have an emotional conversation. And I know it becomes a thing like Ryan can't say I love you. Dude, don't pressure someone to say I love you first off. And second, they could have another emotional conversation without him saying I love you. Just have a conversation about his dead ex-girlfriend. Like, I think that would do the trick to show that there's a bond between them and they can share more. But there didn't seem like any chemistry. In fact, I thought there was more chemistry when he went to visit his mum and he slept with that Chloe waitress. They had good chemistry. Even when they got on, it was a bit like, ugh. And I hated that they killed Marissa off and then tried to completely put somebody in her place. I like that Taylor was in it more because as a character I think she's interesting. However, they made her Ryan's girlfriend and Summer's best friend. So they literally removed Marissa and put somebody less interesting and a little bit annoying in her place. It just didn't work. If they made her a love interest, I think they should have had a one-off one-night stand. And he should have been like, I'm really sorry, I can't do this. My girlfriend died this year. You know? Sometimes I think there are little details they could add which would just satisfy me more. Like, for example, you know, Summer gives Julie the locket on her wedding. Julie doesn't put it on straight away, which I think is bizarre. I think she closes the box. But also, At the end, it then shows Summer's wedding. It would have been nice to see her wearing a locket to know that she'd also worn a locket with Marissa in it to her wedding. Or if a scene of Julie a few scenes later, she's wearing it. It kind of shows it. That's it. It shows it and it's gone. I'm so gutted that Summer didn't write that poem. The mermaid poem. I was sad. I really wanted her to write it. Also, it sounded like something she'd write, not like something Taylor would write. The bullet. What the fuck? What is his character? Why is he in it? What is his purpose? Why is he so weird? Why do they call him the Bullet? He was definitely the worst character throughout the entire thing. Why did bloody Thingy like him so much? What's her name? What is her name? Oh god, why can't I remember her name? Caitlin. Why did Caitlin like him so much? Also, Caitlin's character, when she first came back into it in season 3, I really liked her. I thought, yeah, she's really interesting. She's fun to watch. Then I realised she's mainly a dick to people and then goes, sorry, I'm a dick, I'm just a dick. There's never any growth from it. She always acknowledges that she's not nice. She always goes, oh, that's how I am because I'm always stoned. But she never does anything about it. At some point I would like to see her do something about it, but you never get that with her. Ryan's dad, the entire that thing was all what the fuck as well. Okay, I get it, he comes back, he's a new person, blah blah blah. But then other people are really getting involved. Taylor just goes to see him and what? That's a big deal. And Ryan just seems quite casual about him. So at first Ryan's like, okay, I'm not ready to build a relationship with my dad. Okay, understandable. But then Taylor goes to see him and then Ryan's like, oh well, okay. Firstly, not her place to go and see him, even if it's by accident, not her place. Secondly, it kind of makes his entire traumatic past seem too insignificant. Makes out that his life is now okay, whereas his dad needed to be still seen as a dark figure, not somebody that Julie Cooper's banging. His mum is already becomes redeemable, and I like that his dad is redeemable, yes, but also no. Something about the way they did it just takes away from what Ryan's past is supposed to be. The only thing besides that scene of Ryan and Wojciech, whatever his name is, talking, the only other thing I like about season 4 is pancakes. Something which happens earlier in the series, the whole, I can't remember her name, that girl who gets pregnant, and then you see the baby a couple of times, and then when Ryan gets told, it's just like, oh, it's not yours. I get that it couldn't be his and I didn't want it to be his, but she could have actually been like, I never found out who the dad was, and then he's got to go with her to find out. I think they should have done more with that because there was quite a build up to it. Luke's twin brothers. I like the idea that Luke's brothers are in it, but they have no resemblance to Luke. There's nothing about them which links them to Luke other than them saying, we're Luke's brothers. How are they twins? They are completely different. I get that not all twins are identical, but like, they're not believable as twins. And what is her purpose? They do nothing in the series. And when I found out that Luke's twin brothers were in it, I thought, oh, this is going to be like a good, interesting thing. But it wasn't. It was just a nothing. Okay. Right. I've gone through all my notes. I've had a huge rant. I know there are things which I have forgotten. But I just kind of wanted to get some thoughts off my chest. Now, this video probably seems quite negative, but that's because I literally went and picked out the negative things. There were things about the series I really loved. I love Summer and Seth. I love their relationship and how it develops over time. Although I would have liked to have seen more positive sex scenes with them. There was that first few times when they have sex and it's awkward, and I like that they did that. There aren't many sex scenes with them which aren't that. There's that one time when Taylor's like, you need sex therapy because your sex life is bad. And then they have sex and it's definitely, oh sorry, the sun's really coming in. They have sex and it's good sex, but other than that, we don't really see many sex scenes with them. Not that I want loads of sex, but I mean, they're supposed to have a healthy relationship and the sex life doesn't really get mentioned. I like them as a couple. I think they work well together. Another weird pairing I really like is Taylor and Caitlin. Taylor and Caitlin together, the way they interact, those characters, I really like them as a pairing. Really odd one, I know, but I really like them as a pairing. I like how Summer interacts with her dad. Thought it's very weird that her dad randomly moves away and Taylor just lives with Julie Cooper and nobody ever questions that whole setup. Oh, I hated the house getting knocked down at the end of season 4, I forgot to include that. And I hated them going to that old house and those guys doing the wedding and stuff, which didn't actually happen. That was bizarre. Also, I don't know why I didn't bring this up earlier. Why is every single cast member white? Like everyone. I think there's Caitlin has that guy who's of colour. I think it's Chris Brown. There's that one guy who's black that Caitlin talks to, and there's that one Asian girl who's in the band. Other than that, everybody is white. It's such a white show. It's whiter than Gilmore Girls. That's how white it is. So I think that's a thing, which shouldn't be a thing. There are things they do well. Overall, I like the idea for the story. I like Sandy and Kirsten together. I wish that the whole Bullet and what's his name, Ryan's dad thing with Julia Cooper didn't happen. Also, I like when Julie lived in the trailer at the trailer park, and I wish she stayed living at the trailer park. Overall, I did enjoy the series, even though this video probably seems overly negative, but I just wanted to discuss it. Also, really love Seth's character, really want him to be my boyfriend. Love that he's always wearing pyjamas and likes comic books. Right, okay. So overall, I did like the series, even though this was negative. Marissa and Ryan have great chemistry. Summer and Seth have great chemistry. Sandy and Kirsten have great chemistry. They're all very believable. I think it's very well acted. I think season 4 in particular was very problematic. Oh, also, two things. In the earthquake, when Ryan gets that shard in his side and he's bleeding, I'm sorry, but you wouldn't not tell Taylor. Like, he's just like, yeah, I'm fine. What? No, you're in danger. Like, you need to go to hospital. You'd let her know, even if she's like, I don't like blood. Be like, okay, well, don't look, but glass has gone into me and we need to get it sorted. You wouldn't just be like, okay, I'm just gonna pretend everything's okay. So that was weird. But I did really appreciate when Seth was like, let's list everyone you've punched. Yes, Seth. Yes, that is exactly what you should be doing. Oh, also, I'm remembering more stuff now. I've gone to end this. Colleges. I'm so baffled by everyone in their colleges. So they're all planning to go to college. Right, I get that Ryan doesn't go because Marissa's died. Summer goes to Brown and then gets kicked out. What's Seth doing? I think he's got a later entrance at a college near Brown. So he's working in the comic book. Taylor, in the previous series, wasn't having a gap year. She was going straight to college. But instead she went to Paris. Weird. And also, at the end of the series, she was like, I'm going to Paris. Babe, all the colleges you applied weren't in Paris. They were even in America, or there was Oxford, which is in England. She listed them. None of them were in Paris. Why was she going to Paris? And I hate that at the end as well, when it showed what everyone was doing. It was Summer doing her thing and then Seth sticking a picture of her on his wall rather than actually showing his life. What? Like, hello, we care about Seth the most. I have been filming this such a long time. The lighting keeps changing. Okay, I've been filming this the longest time. I just had a lot to say. I really enjoy talking about film and TV. It wasn't until this year that I realised I actually enjoyed watching film and TV, let alone talking about it. But lately I'm really into talking about and listening to podcasts about it. So I might do more videos, probably with more structure, about programmes I've watched and films I've watched and stuff. So if you've got any requests, let me know. Like I said, this video had completely no structure. I wasn't planning on filming a video, so I didn't write the list of things I wanted to talk about until this morning, when last night I couldn't sleep because I wanted to talk about the OC. Sad, I know. Oh, also, really like that they gave Brian one of the baby rabbits and it was called Flapjack. Pancakes and Flapjack. Like that. On another note, I used to have a rabbit called Pancakes. My sister named it, I think, after this. Okay. I'm going to end this. Yeah, let me know if you'd like to see any more of these videos. I will definitely in future write notes as I watch the thing so that there's some logical order to the notes. I won't just do a mind map in the morning. Liked the series, didn't love it as much as I wanted to, which is a bit sad, but you know. Right, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, if you made it to the end even, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to my channel, I would love if you could. Sorry that this video is in such a random order, but sometimes that's just how life goes. Right, thank you for watching. I feel a bit delirious after talking about the OC for ages. Thank you for watching. I will see you very soon. Bye.